Join me this week as we add some crackers to our collection of things to go onto our marble slab for a cheese board for the dollhouse. Stay tuned and see how fun and easy these are to make. Alright, I have 2 chunks of clay here. They're approximately equal parts. This is a Primo white and this is Sculpey 3 in beige. And what I need to do is get these conditioned and blended together, and when I get that done, I'll be back. Alright, so now I have my clay. This is the white and the beige, remember. I've got it mixed. It's conditioned and it's combined pretty evenly. I'm going to take a portion of it and I am going to roll this through my pasta machine to get a nice thin sheet of clay. If you've watched my videos for very long, you've seen me do this very same technique for other projects. I'm going to do my paper plate for a moment. Now I've run this through the 4th setting, which is fairly thin. What we want is we want to make a bunch of little tiny pieces of clay. This is so, I'm doing this not to get little circles necessarily, although that is how I'm going to use them. I'm doing this so that I can get equal portions of clay. The shape of my cutter doesn't matter in this case. And if you didn't have a clay cutter, you could actually have just cut this, like rolled it out and rolled the clay out and cut it into strips and then little pieces off of there to make, as long as each piece of clay is an equal size. Alright, let's start with that many. It looks like I'm picking dust up somewhere here. Now I'm going to, without putting my head in front of the camera, I'm going to try to cut these in half. I want fairly little pieces. Come on. We want quite dainty crackers. I'll do this many. I'll do the rest of these totally off camera, but let's get these into little balls. Now, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see what I'm doing on the next step, because I'm going to be working on my paper plate. But first, let's make little balls out of all of these little half pieces. That's enough to work with right now. Alright, so let's transfer these little balls here on the paper plate, and then I am going to attempt to get the camera focused a little closer to my work. So hopefully you can see. Let's see. Let's go. Hopefully that's focusing. Alright, so my first step, I'm going to flatten. I need some cornstarch on my finger. This is the brush I always use to put the cornstarch down with, so it retains some, not enough. Okay. I just keep a little bit of cornstarch in this little container on my table. This is the way that we start out a lot of cookies too. Now, it's important that we do all of the following steps on this cracker on our baking surface, because if we were to move it, we would mess them up. Excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat today. I don't know if it's allergies or if I'm trying to come down with something. Now I have the smallest double pointed knitting needle I have. Very carefully. Just dip the tip into my cornstarch. We're not under camera. I'm just poking 4 little holes, little spots. Not going all the way through. Let's get a little more cornstarch on this. Stay down. So rather than have you sit here and watch me do however many of these I have, I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get all of my little round pieces up to this step, and then I'll be back. Alright, so now we have our crackers all done. Is that upside down or did I miss one? It's upside down. Alright, so now I have some chalk. This is just the regular pastel chalk I always use. And I am going to scrape off a little dust, scrape a little dust loose. And if you've watched my videos, you know I like to use an eyeshadow brush, just a cheap one from the dollar store. Oops, that's way too much. That's better. Looks like that cracker got a little burnt by the manufacturer there. I'm going to use different colors of chalk and different colors of clay to make different kinds of crackers. So I'm just going to gently brush this on the top of all of these and set them aside to bake. And we can get on to our next batch of crackers. Alright, for our next set of crackers, we are going to add a little bit of this yellow. This is, let me look, Fimo Sunflower in the Fimo Soft line. This is a nice yellow color. I like this color. I'm going to add just a little bit at a time. I don't want this really yellow like a cheese cracker. I just want it to have a little color, you know? And always start out with less clay than color than you think you want to add, and add it slowly, because you can't really take it out once you put it in. Then you'll just have to add more of the light color and use all of it up, and very quickly you can have enough clay to make way more stuff than you want. Yeah, I think this is going to be about right. So I'm going to put all this back. Get this worked through. And this one we're going to do a little differently. I want to show you different cracker colors and different ways of making them. I'm going to use a cutter again. Kind of a warm day, so my fingers are a little on the sticky side, so my clay is sticking to my fingers. All right, now we'll go through the pasta machine. I'm going to go as thin as I can here. Let's see, I'm going to try and go to 5. All right, that's gone through the pasta machine on the number 5 setting. Now I have a teardrop shaped Kemper cutter. Come on, don't stick. I was really hoping that this clay would stick to the paper plate, but it's not wanting to. So for this one, we'll need to cut one for each cracker. So I'm going to turn the camera off, I'm going to cut a bunch more, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Alright, so I think this is probably enough for what we're doing. I'm going to dip my fingers on my left hand into some cornstarch. That way these won't stick to my fingers. And now I'm going to poke. This is just a sewing pin. And the beauty of making things like crackers is there are so many brands of crackers, and they are all different shapes and colors and even sizes. And these are, none of ours today are really modeled after any real crackers. They're just in my imagination. Alright, I'm going to do that many on camera, and then I'll show you the next step, then I'll turn the camera off so you don't have to watch me sit here and poke these. Now, once again, we need some chalk, and this time I'm using like a yellow ochre color. Brush is right here. And this you can go a little heavier on than we can the brown. Try to make sure that your crackers are not touching each other too much when you put them in the oven, otherwise they could form into a glob that's hard to get apart. I am going to texture the rest of these, and then I'll be back and we'll go to one more type of cracker. Alright, so once again we are going to color some of our base clay, and this time I have just a small amount of Primo in burnt umber. I can't even say that. And you saw it was a very small amount. We just want to darken this clay up a little bit, make these crackers look like they're a different kind. Maybe they're a pumpernickel or rye or something, I don't know. And this one we're going to do, again, different than we have been the others. Now you could do crackers where you ran a little bit of color, like a brown sand through to give some color. We did that a long time ago when we made tortilla chips. Alright, let me get this rolled out pretty thin. Oops, that was a little too thin to start with. It's warm in here and my hands are very warm. It's making the clay stick to my fingers really badly. Alright, now down to 5 again. And this time I'm going to attempt to work on my tray. I may end up actually baking on the tile on this one. Do I have a small tile that's clean? Let's do this. I don't like to bake on a tile, but I'll put it on here just in. It's easier to work on it this way, and then if I end up baking on the tile, it'll be okay. So I'm going to start by cutting this into a square. And I like that I've got some variations in color. I like that design a little bit. That's not screwed. I'm looking at this from an angle because I'm trying to make sure that you guys can see, so I'm sitting way back. And it's really hard to get a straight angle on. Sometimes, by the way, I'll put this on a piece of graph paper, but I didn't think that would tape very well. It would make it harder for the video camera to focus, I think. I'm going to make lines. I'm cutting all the way to the tile and running my knife blade against the tile. I'm cutting all the way through here. There. Well, they're not all the same, but that's okay. Back in there. Because we still want a texture while it's on the tile. I'm trying to see what I'm doing without sticking my head in front of the camera. Alright, now, one of my favorite texturing tools. This is a cleaning brush. I got this at Harbor Freight. Just going to go straight down on here with this. Just pouncing. Now, let's get some chalk. Let's use that same one again. Let's go with the yellow ochre again. Or no, let's go with a kind of a reddish orange or a reddish brown. Let's go with this one. I haven't used this one in a while. Get a little more texture right here. Now let's see if I can get them to come off onto here or if we are indeed baking on the tile. I don't like to bake on the tile because it makes the backside shiny. But there. Then I can just break those apart once they are baked. I want to flatten that out though. There. Now I'm going to bake the crackers all at 250 degrees for about 7.5 minutes, and once they are baked and cooled, I'll come back and we'll look at the finished crackers. Alright, so these are all baked and cooled and ready to glue down to our marble slab. But I'm going to make some cheese before I do that, and maybe some fruits too. I think that might be kind of cool, but I'll move a few of these over, a few of each one. This one will need to be broken apart. I'll have to spend a little time doing that. But, oops. Get those all broken apart before next week. And here's our little round crackers. But we've got 3 types of crackers to serve with cheese now. So I think the dolls are well on the way to having a fantastic looking cheese board. Be sure and check the blog post. I'll talk a little bit about why this Sunday video is showing up on a Thursday. Yeah, it's been a long week. Had some cool stuff going on last weekend and I just didn't get around to recording. I will do the cheeses for this. Hopefully that will go up on Sunday, and then I think I'm going to do a few fruits to go with it, and then we will assemble our cheese board the following week. So be sure and check the blog post for more photos, more information. If you haven't found us on Facebook, I invite you to come join us over there because we have a lot of fun and they know where I was last weekend. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.